Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of NASCAR's Almost Champions, Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle is a semi-retired NASCAR driver who has been competing in NASCAR since the mid-1990s. He began his racing career running the short tracks in the Pacific Northwest. After all, he is from Washington State. Biffle first gained national notoriety in the racing world when he competed in the nationally televised Winter Heat Series during the winter of 1995 and 1996. Which led 1973 NASCAR Cup Series champion Benny Parsons to recommend Greg Biffle to car owner Jack Roush. Now, the Winter Heat Series was a late model division that was televised, and it was centered out of the Pacific Northwest. Now, in 1996, Greg would make his debut in one of NASCAR's top 3 touring series, the Xfinity Series, when he made the final 2 starts of the season, behind the wheel of the number 51 Chevrolet, owned by Dick Bound. His best start was 15th, and his best finish was 23rd, both coming at Rockingham in the fall. He would run the full NASCAR Northwest Series in 1997, before signing to drive the number 50 Granger Ford full-time in 1998 in the Craftsman Truck Series. His best start was first, 4 times, including 3 in a row: Portland in the spring, then Memphis, Gateway, and Martinsville in the fall. His best finish was second, twice, at Loudon in the summer and Phoenix in the fall. Overall, he scored 4 poles, 0 wins, 8 top 5s, and 12 top 10s, finishing 8th in final Craftsman Truck Series points, also winning Rookie of the Year honors. Then in 1999, he returned to the number 50 Granger Ford full-time, once again in the Craftsman Truck Series. His best start was first, 4 times, at Memphis and Bristol in the spring, then Milwaukee and Nazareth in the summer. His best finish was first, 9 times. Memphis in the spring was his first career victory in the Craftsman Truck Series, also Portland in the spring, Milwaukee, Nazareth, and Michigan in the summer, then IRP, Gateway, Richmond, and Las Vegas in the fall. Overall, he scored 4 poles, 9 wins, 14 top 5s, and 19 top 10s, finishing 2nd in final Craftsman Truck Series points. Once again, for the year 2000, Roush Racing brought back Greg Biffle to drive the number 50 Granger Ford for one more season in the Craftsman Truck Series. His best start was first, 4 times, Portland and Gateway in the spring, Texas and Watkins Glen in the summer. His best finish was first, 5 times, Pikes Peak in the spring, Texas, Kentucky, and Watkins Glen in the summer, followed by Michigan in the fall. Overall, he scored 4 poles, 5 wins, 18 top 5s, and 18 top 10s, winning the 2000 Craftsman Truck Series Championship. That following season, in 2001, Roush Racing moved Greg Biffle up to the Xfinity Series to drive the number 60 Granger Ford full-time. His best start was first, twice, Rockingham in the spring and Gateway in the summer. His best finish was first, 5 times, at Nashville and Nazareth in the spring, and Milwaukee in the summer, then Charlotte and Phoenix in the fall. Overall, he scored 2 poles, 5 wins, 16 top 5s, and 21 top 10s, finishing 4th in final Xfinity Series points, winning the Rookie of the Year honors for the Xfinity Series in 2001. In the Craftsman Truck Series, Biffle made 4 starts in a number 99 for Roush Racing. His best start was 4th at Nashville in the summer, and his best finish was first, twice, at Nazareth and Phoenix in the fall. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 2 wins, 2 top 5s, and 4 top 10s. The 2002 Xfinity Series season saw Biffle return to drive the Roush Racing number 60 Granger Ford full-time. His best start was first, 7 times, Nashville, Milwaukee, and IRP in the summer, Darlington, Memphis, Atlanta, and Phoenix in the fall. His best finish was first, 4 times, Dover in the spring, Milwaukee, Gateway, and IRP in the summer. Overall, he scored 7 poles, 4 wins, 20 top 5s, and 25 top 10s, winning the 2002 Xfinity Series Championship. Biffle also made his Cup Series debut at California in the spring, driving a number 16 Ford for Roush Racing, starting 29th and finishing 13th. Then he made 4 more Cup Series starts in place of an injured Bobby Hamilton in the number 55 Schneider Electric Square D Chevrolet for Andy Petrie Racing. His best start was 4th, and his best finish was 27th, both coming at Loudon in the fall. Biffle also made 2 other Cup Series starts for Petty Enterprises in the number 44 Georgia Pacific Dodge. His best start was 5th at Homestead in the fall, and his best finish was 25th twice at both Rockingham and Homestead in the fall. Finally, in 2003, Greg Biffle got what he had worked for his whole career up to that point, a full-time ride in the NASCAR Cup Series with one of the series' top teams at the time, Roush Racing. Behind the wheel of the number 16 Granger Ford full-time. His best start was 2nd twice at Watkins Glen in the summer and Richmond in the fall, and his best finish was 1st at Daytona in the summer. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 6 top 10s, finishing 20th in final Cup Series points. Randy Goss, who had served as Greg Biffle's crew chief ever since he joined Roush Racing back in 1998, was replaced following race 24 at Bristol in the fall. Goss was replaced by Doug Reichert. In the Xfinity Series, he made 14 starts, 1 in the number 9 Oreo Ford for Roush Racing at Charlotte in the spring, starting and finishing 12th. Then he made 13 starts in the number 7 Kleenex Chevrolet for Ed Evans. His best start was 1st 3 times at Memphis, Atlanta, and Homestead in the fall. His best finish was 1st twice at Charlotte and Atlanta in the fall. Overall, he scored 3 poles, 2 wins, 3 top 5s, and 4 top 10s, finishing 35th in final Xfinity Series points. For 2004, Greg Biffle returned to the Roush Racing number 16 National Guard Subway Ford full-time. His best start was 1st at Daytona in the spring, and his best finish was 1st twice at Michigan in the summer and Homestead in the fall. Overall, he scored 1 pole, 2 wins, 4 top 5s, and 8 top 10s, finishing 17th in final Cup Series points. In the Xfinity Series, he returned to full-time competition, driving a number 60 Charter Communications Ford for Roush Racing. Brad Parrott served as the team's crew chief. His best start was 1st twice at Bristol and Charlotte in the spring, and his best finish was 1st 5 times at both California races, Darlington and Dover in the spring, and Pikes Peak in the fall. Overall, he scored 2 poles, 5 wins, 15 top 5s, and 21 top 10s, finishing 3rd in final Xfinity Series points. In the Craftsman Truck Series, he made 1 start at Homestead in the fall, starting 24th and finishing 8th. Next up, in 2005, Biffle would again reprise his role as a full-time driver of Roush Racing's number 16 Post-it National Guard Ford in the NASCAR Cup Series. His best start was 2nd twice at Dover in the spring and Richmond in the fall. His best finish was 1st 6 times at California, Texas, Darlington, Dover, and Michigan in the spring, then Homestead in the fall. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 6 wins, 15 top 5s, and 21 top 10s, finishing 2nd in final Cup Series points after making the chase. In the Xfinity Series, Biffle made 27 starts for Bruco Motorsports behind the wheel of the number 66 Duraflame Ford, with Newt Moore serving as the team's crew chief. His best start was 2nd twice at Charlotte in the spring and then Homestead in the fall. His best finish was 1st at Phoenix in the spring. Overall, in 27 starts, he scored 0 poles, 1 win, 16 top 5s, and 21 top 10s, finishing 10th in final Xfinity Series points. In 2006, he would drive the number 16 National Guard Subway Ford, again for Roush Racing. His best start was 1st twice at Las Vegas and Richmond in the spring, and his best finish was 1st twice at Darlington in the spring and then Homestead in the fall. Overall, he scored 2 poles, 2 wins, 8 top 5s, and 15 top 10s, finishing 13th in final Cup Series points after he missed the chase. In the Xfinity Series, he made 30 starts between 2 different teams, 4 for Bruco Motorsports in their number 66 Ford. His best start was 7th at Martinsville in the summer, and his best finish was 4th at Watkins Glen in the fall. Then he made the other 26 starts in the number 16 AmeriQuest Mortgage Ford for Roush Racing. Eddie Perdue served as the team's crew chief. His best start was 3rd 3 times at California, Las Vegas, and Richmond in the spring. His best finish was 1st at California in the spring. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 1 win, 9 top 5s, and 18 top 10s, finishing 9th in final Xfinity Series points. The race team that Greg Biffle was driving for in 2007, and in fact, he would spend the vast majority of his NASCAR career driving for, Roush Racing changed its name to Roush Fenway Racing when the Fenway Sports Group became co-owners of the team. In the Cup Series, Biffle returned to the number 16 3M Dish Network Ford full-time. Pat Tryson began the season as the team's new crew chief, replacing Doug Reichert. By the conclusion of race 12, Tryson was replaced by Greg Irwin atop the pit box. His best start was first in Atlanta in the fall. His best finish was first at Kansas in the fall. Overall, he scored 1 pole, 1 win, 5 top 5s, and 11 top 10s, missing the playoffs, finishing 14th in final Cup Series points. In the Xfinity Series, he made 31 starts for 2 different teams. 11 in the number 37 Cub Cadet Ford for Bruco Motorsports. His best start in the number 37 was 3rd at Darlington in the spring. His best finish in the number 37 was 6th at Phoenix in the spring. Then he made 20 starts in the number 16 Ford for Jack Roush. His best start was first 3 times at Michigan, Dover, and Charlotte in the fall. His best finish was 2nd at IRP in the summer. Then he made 1 start in the number 26 Oreo Ford for Jack Roush at Daytona in the spring, starting 9th and finishing 10th. Overall, in 31 starts, he scored 3 poles, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, finishing 9th in final Xfinity Series points. While Biffle headed into the 2008 season, missing the playoffs the last 2 seasons in the Cup Series, 2008 was a great bounce-back season for Biffle. Of course, behind the wheel of the number 16 3M Dish Network Ford full-time. His best start was first twice at Dover, Darlington in the spring. His best finish was first twice at Loudon and Dover in the fall. This season, he did make the playoffs, finishing a solid 3rd in final Cup Series points. As far as the Xfinity Series, Biffle only made 15 starts, 1 in the number 37 Cub Cadet Ford at Atlanta in the spring, starting 23rd and finishing 21st. The other 14 starts were behind the wheel of the number 16 City Financial Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. His best start was 3rd 3 times at Charlotte in the spring, Loudon in the summer, and Bristol in the fall. His best finish was 2nd at Las Vegas in the spring. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 0 wins, 4 top 5s, and 10 top 10s, finishing 25th in final Xfinity Series points. As the decade came to a close, in 2009, Greg Biffle and the Roush Fenway Racing number 16 3M Ford team remained competitive in the NASCAR Cup Series. His best start was 2nd 3 times at Talladega in the spring, then Bristol and California in the fall. His best finish was 3rd 3 times at Texas and Dover in the spring, then Kansas in the fall. For the 2nd season in a row, he made the playoffs, finishing 7th in final Cup Series points. Overall, scoring 0 poles, 0 wins, 10 top 5s, and 16 top 10s. Back down in the Xfinity Series, he made 14 starts, all in Roush Fenway's number 16 City Financial Ford. His best start was 3rd 3 times at Las Vegas and Charlotte in the spring, then Kansas in the fall. His best finish was 1st twice at Las Vegas and Phoenix in the spring. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 2 wins, 4 top 5s, and 9 top 10s, finishing 24th in final Xfinity Series points. So, the start of a brand new decade, 2010. And truthfully, it may have been a new decade, but it was just more of the same for Greg Biffle and his number 16 3M Ford Roush Fenway Racing team. His best start was 2nd at Texas in the fall, and his best finish was 1st twice at Pocono in the summer, then Kansas in the fall. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 2 wins, 9 top 5s, and 19 top 10s, making the playoffs for the 3rd straight season, finishing 6th in final Cup Series points. Now, in the Xfinity Series in 2010, he made 10 starts for Mike Curb, behind the wheel of a number 27 Redman Moist Snuff Ford. His best start was 4th at Phoenix in the spring, and his best finish was 2nd twice at California and Richmond in the spring. Overall, in 10 starts, he scored 0 poles, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, and 7 top 10s, finishing 35th in final Xfinity Series points. 2011 started out like many other seasons for Greg Biffle, behind the wheel of the number 16 3M Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. Greg Irwin began the season as his crew chief, but at the conclusion of race 18 in Kentucky, he was replaced by Matt Pucia. His best start was first 3 times at Michigan, Kansas, and Texas in the fall, and his best finish was third at Loudon in the fall. Unfortunately, he missed the playoffs this season, finishing 16th in final Cup Series points. Then in 2012, Biffle would return to the number 16 3M Ford for Roush Racing full-time. His best start was first 3 times at Bristol and Darlington in the spring, then Charlotte in the fall. His best finish was first twice at Texas in the spring and Michigan in the fall. He did make the playoffs this season, finishing 5th in final Cup Series points, scoring 3 poles, 2 wins, 12 top 5s, and 21 top 10s. For the 2013 NASCAR Cup Series season, Greg Biffle was behind the wheel of his familiar Roush Racing number 16 3M Ford full-time. His best start was second at California in the spring, and his best finish was first at Michigan in the spring. After spending the majority of the season inside the top 10 in point standings, he made the playoffs, overall scoring 0 poles, 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, finishing 9th in final Cup Series points. While once a top-flight, very competitive race team, Roush Racing had begun to regress a bit. Biffle returned to the number 16 3M Ford full-time. His best start was 4th at Texas in the spring. His best finish was 2nd at Talladega in the spring. In 2014, NASCAR expanded the playoff field from 12 to 16 competitors, so Biffle did make the playoffs. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, and 11 top 10s, finishing 14th in final Cup Series points. On the competitive side of things, Biffle and Roush Racing continued to regress in 2015. He was back behind the wheel of the number 16 Ortho Bug Begone Ford full-time. His best start was 4th twice, both races at Charlotte, and his best finish was 2nd at Charlotte in the spring. He did not make the playoffs. Overall, he scored 0 poles, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, and 4 top 10s, finishing a disappointing 20th in final Cup Series points. Then in 2016, the season that turned out to be his final full-time season in NASCAR, though he didn't announce it. He just stopped driving at the end of the season. Brian Patty became the team's new crew chief, replacing Matt Pucia. Biffle was behind the wheel of the number 16 Ford EcoBoost Ford full-time. His best start was 1st at Daytona in the summer. His best finish was 5th at Loudon in the summer. Once again, he did not make the playoffs. Overall, he scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 1 top 5, and 3 top 10s, finishing 23rd in final Cup Series point standings. Just like that, Greg Biffle stopped racing. Until 2019, when he would make a one-off start in the Craftsman Truck Series for Kyle Busch Motorsports in a number 51 Toyota at Texas in the spring, starting 6th, leading 18 laps on his way to victory lane. The following season, in 2020, Biffle made another one-off start, again in the Craftsman Truck Series, this time at Darlington in the summer, behind the wheel of a number 24 Ricky Hendrick throwback Chevrolet for GMS, starting 20th and finishing 19th. Greg Biffle made his return to the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022, driving a number 44 Chevrolet for NY Racing. His best start was 26th at Las Vegas in the spring, and his best finish was 20th at Atlanta in the spring. As of August 2024, he has not made any more starts in NASCAR's top 3 touring series. He did make one start in the ARCA Menards West Series at Tri-City, driving a number 23 Chevrolet, starting 4th and finishing 9th. So, in 515 NASCAR Cup Series starts, he scored 13 poles, 19 victories, 92 top 5, and 175 top 10 finishes, with a best points finish of 2nd in 2005. Hence the reason he falls into the NASCAR's Almost Champions Series. In 244 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 14 poles, 20 victories, 93 top 5s, and 149 top 10 finishes, winning the 2002 Xfinity Series Championship. Then, in 83 Craftsman Truck Series starts, he scored 12 poles, 17 victories, 43 top 5s, and 55 top 10 finishes, winning the 2000 Craftsman Truck Series championship. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.